Good morning. It is early filming session today. We are in here at 7 a.m. and we're going to talk about the benefits of in-season training on today's episode. We are currently, at the moment of this recording, transitioning into fall sports. So fall sports tend to be one of the busiest seasons in terms of athletics. A lot of practices, a lot of sports going on, club sports going on. And just wanted to give some insight into the benefits of in-season training because sometimes those are overlooked, and a lot of times athletes kind of get in this cycle of practice, games, and there's not a lot of effort being put into that holistic development, maintaining the skills they got during the off season, and staying healthy through the entire season and be able to perform at their peak at the end of the year rather than the beginning of the year. So number one would be that maintain and even improve performance throughout the season. A lot of times we see athletes put a ton of work in the off season. They get stronger, they get faster. They have made a lot of progress, and then they get in season and they decide that it's a little bit too much, and they cut off training and trade off for more sport, more practice, whatnot. So what you'll typically see is athletes that decide to stop. There's a little bit of a regression actually throughout the season, and when we see athletes come back after their sport, they've actually dropped off quite a bit on their performance markers. Their speed has gone down, their strength has gone down. They're usually in a little bit of pain, have some soft tissue injuries, overuse injuries, things like that. So needless to say, most of these athletes are, as they get through deeper into the season, their performance is dropping off a little bit. And then you can see this as a whole team as well. And that's where we find even 1 to 2 times training in season can not only maintain those metrics. So when we get back into off-season training, they're either starting really close to where they were at, or even a little bit better. So we can build to that next tier. And that's one of the huge benefits of training in season is don't regress, and you're performing well at the end of the season. You're staying healthy. Your metrics are up, and you're going to be able to typically outperform athletes that aren't training, because as they go through the season, they're coming down. As you're in season, you're maintaining and even getting a little bit better. And this is, again, when it really matters, is the end of the season, right? As we get into district play, as we get into championship play, those are really where everything counts. Kind of touch on a little bit. Second would be reducing odds of soft tissue injury and overuse injuries. So giving athletes the ability to keep up their movement patterns, work through different movement patterns in sport. Sport can be somewhat repetitive in the demands and tasks of the athlete, and it's important that we keep an all-around approach to keeping the athlete healthy and using the body, whether that's baseball where you're rotating a lot to one side, being able to get some work in on the opposite side, keep everything balanced, keep the side that is working a lot healthy. There's quite a few sports that are just focused on one side. Another example is typically when we get soccer players in here, they tend to have one leg that's a lot stronger than the other, their plant leg versus their kick leg, and the patterning on them actually is quite different. And that's why you see a lot of knee injuries in soccer as well. So getting athletes into a wholesome program, they're doing in-season training. Obviously, we take into account, when an athlete walks in here in season, we're having conversations at the beginning of each session and changing and modifying based on what the athlete needs that day, where they're at mentally, where they're at physically, are they in pain, are they tired, and making sure we're just matching the athlete where they're at and giving them what they need for that day to make that a little bit of progress, even if some days it's mostly just mental progress. Now I'm feeling better, feeling confident, having trust in their body, and know that they're kind of working towards getting out of whatever pain or issues that they're having. And then the last one is avoiding large drops in speed and power. Strength, there's different concepts when it comes to, or different kind of principles that we follow in the strength and conditioning world when it comes to how long physical qualities last, as well as fitness, as before you start to detrain or kind of fall off on your metrics. And this can be eye-opening to some people. So let's start with aerobic endurance or capacity, typically, if you don't touch those qualities, depending on the individual, it takes 1.5 to 4 weeks for that to start to fall off. So, if you're not doing something for a week, 2 weeks, you're not really going to see a huge fall off in performance. Max strength, 3 to 4 weeks. Again, those are pretty large time frames, right? So if you didn't touch, a weight for 3 to 4 weeks, typically what they find is the human body is going to maintain that strength for that amount of time, and it's not going to fall off quickly. Now, as we get into max speed and power, I kind of lump speed and power into the same category in this context. 5 days, 3 to 5 days in terms of fall offs for that. So almost weekly. So if you're not touching an actual max speed, which you don't a lot in sports, which could be a whole nother podcast episode from GPS data research that we have gone through and combed through. Now, athletes aren't typically in sport hitting max speed other than like track and field. So 3 to 5 days, you're having a fall off in performance there. Your ability to create power quickly, your ability to sprint fast, change direction fast, move, that falls off quick. So that's something that we do touch on in season once a week, is we make sure to get athletes running as fast as they can. And, counter to what you may think initially, it keeps the athlete healthier, keeps soft tissue prepped for when they have to call upon that in game. And we've got really great results with that, even though some would say like, oh, they have to sprint as fast as they can. That's going to affect their performance. Again, we have just found over the last 10 years, it's not true. It's actually going to improve performance, allow them to maintain capacities that they have, the ones that fall off the quickest, and is a huge benefactor for the athlete in improving and staying healthy throughout the season, as well as performing their best at the end of the year. So in-season training, it's a must. Athletes, you need to do it. If you're going to plan on playing at the collegiate level, you are going to train in season, so those habits need to be in place. But overall, as an athlete, taking that time off can seem harmless, in the moment. But like I said, we typically find quite a bit of fall off if you want to be your best. Not recommended to stop training in season. Obviously, loads need to be appropriate. People can really mess this up. Coaches can mess this up, doing too much. But finding a professional that can help you put those together, put a wholesome training program together that's going to help you, improve over time as well as stay healthy. That is a must for those athletes that are trying to make it to the next level. So appreciate you guys' time. If this sparked an interest or you have any questions, please send them over. Would be happy to walk through more concepts about this and answer specific questions. Make sure to follow the Instagram, HansenAthletics. And if you are in the Southeastern Idaho area, make sure to schedule your free intro appointment. You're going to get a lot of good free information at this. We're going to do a video analysis of your movement, teach you how to run a little bit, and it'll be overall just be a positive experience for the athlete. And then if you're remote and you're like, man, I would really like to work with you guys, we do have options remotely for athletes and teams to engage with us. We do team training. We do individual athlete training remotely and on site. So again, thanks for your time, guys. Have a great day.